Hello and welcome. My name is James and I'm one of the electrical engineers here at 4B Brain Components. In this video I'll show you the sensor dashboard in Hazardmon and go through the information you see on screen. To begin with, I'm on the devices page of our UK office. We have the demo elevator that we set up in our first video and another device called demo case, which is currently offline. If I click on the demo elevator, that will take you through to the dashboard for that device. The screen you see will depend on whether or not you have the watchdog, IE node or the T500 set up, but the way to get around the information is the same either way. You can see the system state along with the system runtime hours, as well as a live view of all of the sensors currently active below. When you first set up the system, it may be best to look at the sensor settings, as here we can change the sensor names and images to suit each application, and I can also set up warnings. These are separate from the actual physical hazard monitor alarms you get through the watchdog. I'll go through this later in this video. For now, let's set up some names and images for each sensor. If I go to settings and then sensor names, we'll then see the fields we can change. Here we have our temperature sensors, as well as a couple of expansion balls for additional sensors, which the watchdog unit can hold. I'm not using these at the moment, so we'll ignore them for now. We do currently have two temperature sensors set up on our demo elevator, so I'm going to change these names to bearing temperature sensor 1, or BTS1, and BTS2. We can also import or export these names as a separate file should you wish to copy any other monitors you're using on site. Once done, I'll click Save. Now if I scroll down, we'll see the new names. Another option I'd like to change will be the sensor images. To do that, again I'll click on Settings and then Sensor Images. Now you can see each of the sensors with drop-down options for each. I'm going to change the System Runtime Hours image first, and I think the stopwatch image is best here. Now I'll go through the others and select some better images for each sensor. I'll speed this up for you to save some time. Now that I have selected the images, let's click Save and see how that looks. We can now see the new images on the sensor dashboard. Lastly, I'm going to set up a new warning on the BTS1 temperature sensor. As I mentioned earlier, this is separate to the alarm set up on the watchdog unit itself. We have the watchdog set to shut down at 60 degrees C and a warning at 50 degrees C. If it reaches these temperatures, we'll see the watchdog shut down the elevator to prevent a potential explosion. In this scenario, however, I want Hazardmon to warn me if the bearing temperature exceeds, let's say, 40 degrees C. This will help me prevent unwanted shutdowns and alert any maintenance staff to a potential problem. To set up the warning, I'll again go to Settings and click Warnings. At the moment I have no warning set up, so I'll click Add. Here we'll see we can add a new field. This now gives me the choice of which sensor the warning will be for. In our example, it will be the BTS1 temperature sensor. We then have an option for the sign. We can have more than, less than, or equal to. We'll go for more than. And the value we'll select at 40 degrees C. I'll click Save and we now have our warning set up. If I want to check if this warning is still active, again I can go to Warnings and now we'll see that we have a warning set up for BTS1. To demonstrate this, I'll use one of our adjustable depth bearing temperature testing units, the ADB-T4, to heat up the sensor shown here. I'll now start the elevator so we can see this in action. I'll use the ADB-T4 tester as shown here. In a moment we'll be able to observe the temperature increasing, and we'll see the warning we get on Hazardmon at 40 degrees C, while the elevator is still running okay and no alarms have been activated. I'll now speed up the video to save some time. Now, as we exceed the 40-degree limit, we'll see the alert come up on Hazardmon. As you can see, the elevator is still running okay with no alarms. I'll speed up the video again until we hit the 50-degree mark. So now, as we hit 50 degrees C, we'll see the warning on Hazardmon, as well as on the watchdog. Again, I'll speed up the video until we hit 60 degrees C. So now as we hit 60 degrees C, we'll see the watchdog shut the elevator down, as well as the associated alarms on Hazardmon. I'll turn the ADB tester off now and we'll see the temperature come down. As it does, we'll get notifications on Hazardmon telling us about the change in alarm status. I'll speed this through to the various points. In the next video, we'll look at the analytical side of Hazardmon to go over historical data and observe trends, as well as setting up our email alerts. Thank you for your time, and a link to the other videos in this series will be in the description below.